You've probably already seen it. YouTube added this new chart on top of the progress bar as a new feature, and it shows the most replayed sections of a video. My name is Enrico, I work as a product manager at a tech company, and today we're gonna see how this seemingly innocent change has so many negative ramifications, and then I will redesign this feature so that it actually has some sense. So let's start with my problems with this. Whenever we design a new feature or tech product, we have to ask ourselves 3 questions. First, do people want this? And don't worry, we'll get to this later. Second, can we do it? Is it technically feasible? And third, should we do it? Is it something that goes in accordance with our product strategy or the vision of our company? A good example of this is the Twitter edit button. Is it something that people want? Yes. Is it something that is feasible? Of course, it's super easy to do. Is it something that we should do? That is the reason why this hasn't been implemented yet. Because they felt like it didn't really match with Twitter's product strategy. And the easiest way to understand what is the strategy for a product is to look at their North Star metric. The one metric that they are optimizing for. When YouTube launched, their North Star metric was the total number of views on the website. But then in 2012, they changed that metric to total watch time. And that is what they are optimizing up until today. And they changed the YouTube algorithm to follow this North Star metric. And that's why big YouTubers make videos that are 10, 15 minutes long, while in reality the action can only be shortened to 5 minutes or 3 minutes. And so when you launch something new, a new feature, a new part of the product, you always want to ask yourself, will this improve my North Star metric? And the problem with the most rewatched feature is that not only does it improve the watch time, it goes in the completely other direction. Now, of course, this feature has been tested since October 2021 with YouTube Premium users, and they have all the data in the world to see how this performs. But I personally find it very hard to believe that this feature actually increased total watch time.
How? I don't know!
So what I think really happened is that YouTube is changing its North Star metric. And this is because of one thing. TikTok. TikTok has dethroned YouTube from the video platform where users spend the most amount of time. TikTok managed to do this with short videos, yes, but with a killer recommendation algorithm that keeps you glued to the screen. And it seems like YouTube is getting scared. They launched YouTube Shorts, which is a clear direct response to this, but I feel like they want to change the product, want to change the core part of YouTube that we all know and love today. And it's totally possible that they have changed their North Star metric from total watch time to something like number of videos per session. And this brings us to the question, do people want this? Do people want to skip to the climactic part of a video, the most essential one, and skipping the rest altogether? If you ask a random person, they would say, yes, of course they want that. But one of the most important rules whenever we are building something new is that what people say they want is not what they actually need in most cases. People use YouTube for 2 main reasons, information and entertainment. The most replayed graph is something that for sure helps people looking for information. They can skip directly to the part they need of a tutorial or a how-to video or a review. And this is something that Google understood for a while. When you search for something and the result is a video, you'll be taken directly to the point in the video where the key concept is showed. Really nice. But when it comes to entertainment content, the most replayed feature is a death sentence. Because now instead of watching a story that a creator has laid out for you, full of ups and downs and exciting moments that get you invested, you can just skip right to the climax and watch just that. Just imagine if the same feature was available when you watch your favorite movie for the first time. You would have watched just the most important scenes and skipped everything that was at a slower pace. But would you be as invested in the story, in the characters, in the world building that you come to love? Would you have ended up loving that movie as much as you do now? Content creators on YouTube spend hours crafting a story, and then you can subscribe and become an active member of the community. And this is the cycle that has been keeping YouTube alive for the past 15 years. And guess what? All of this doesn't happen if you just skip to the climax part of the first video you watch and then leave. And adding to all of this, there are also a few points on the implementation, like, do I really need to know the most watched part of a 5-second video? And so now let's take mouse and keyboard and let's go fix this thing. To do this, I will create a simplified version of what tech companies actually use when they launch a new feature, which is something called a PRD, a Product Requirements Document. So let's start with the goal. The goal I define is I want to help people find the information they need in longer informational videos. Now let's get to the juicy part, feature design. In the current design, users can simply hover on the timeline of any video and they will see the graph. Then when they hover on the actual most replayed part, they will get this badge indicating that is supposedly the most interesting section. The biggest problem is that the chart has no embedded friction. If you're watching some content, it's very likely that you're gonna be on a part where the chart is lower. And so the first psychological response to that will be that you're wasting your time, that you're looking at something that is not the most interesting piece. And also, do you actually need this chart information? Do you care that it's 50% or 100% interesting or rewatched? Probably not, so let's scrap the chart altogether. And then, let's finally add some friction. I don't want the feature to enable whenever you start hovering on the timeline. I want you to discover it when you actually need it. So it will only activate when there is signs of intent from the user. If you're on mobile, this might mean 3 taps on the forward button. If you are on desktop, it might mean when you click multiple times, let's say 3 times on the timeline, or when you start scrubbing for more than 2 seconds. Then we come to a problem of meaning. I see there is a chart here. Cool, but is it most interesting parts? Yes, I guess. Could be bananas per minute, I don't know. There is no sign of what it is. And I don't think that's very intuitive, so let's change this microcopy to viewers enjoyed. So now let's get all the pieces together and see how this redesign will look like. Now let's get to metrics. To track the success of my feature, I will use as a main metric the number of skips to a highlighted section where users watch the whole section, divided by the video views where the feature is enabled. And as a counter metric, to make sure that this is not disrupting everything, I wanna still keep the total watch time. You know, just to keep an eye on it. To launch this feature, I plan to do this test on 5% of the total YouTube user base, and break this down into 5 different sub-tests tracking performance of the features in videos of different length to get data on the different impact of longer versus shorter videos. And then if everything looks good, I will expand it gradually to the whole user base. And of course, this all comes from my assumptions and my own product management experience. I don't know what YouTube is planning behind closed doors or what their metrics look like. I really hope that YouTube changes its course on this one. There are many stories that are waiting to be told, and I really hope that YouTube keeps being the best place for it. If you like this kind of video where I break down and redesign a feature in a digital product, let me know in the comments below which one should I do next. And here is another video that you might enjoy.